What's good? This your man, Servant Kane, telling you what it do. And this the Fuck the Government podcast. Wish I had a guitar riff. You already know what it is. Shouts out to everybody. Everybody. This the Fuck the Government podcast. Fuck the Government podcast, episode 55. It might be 56. I gotta go through my shit again, but I think it's 55. I know I had an incident on doing episode 54. I think it only gave me 10 minutes and I had to shut it off and start back again. I think that was episode 54. I'm not really sure. Like it's been a minute, you know. But shouts out to everybody. Like hope everybody doing cool. I understand it's the Fuck the Government podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody is on that fuck the government tip. Pause. Because motherfuckers love their government. Motherfuckers love to obey their earthly masters like that fake ass Jesus told them to. Slaves obey your earthly masters. It's in the Bible. That's why most of you motherfuckers are scared to fight right motherfucking now. But I'm going to tell you this. I ain't scared to fight. I'll beat your ass. I'll shoot the shit out you too. Hashtag fuck the government. They gotta win storms and fire, but ask somebody about me. But Fuck the Government podcast, just in case y'all new to this, it's been a minute. But we say fuck the government. Well, at least me, I say fuck the government because they killing us through the food, through the water, through the air, through disease. And if you don't believe me, there's fluoride in your water, look it up. GMOs in your food, look it up. Chemtrails in the air, look that shit up. And the CDC is making diseases. Kill a motherfucker. Look that up. Now, what's your reason why you say fuck the government? Because I'm giving y'all the main foe that should make anybody mad. You dig? You dig? Much love, Jess. How you doing? Welcome to the Fuck the Government podcast, where we say fuck the government all the time. And I got 4 good reasons. They killing us through the food, through the water, through the air, through the disease. We should be retaliating. Much love, much love. But like this is kind of like the HHN, but it's a lot more extremer. And plus, I can just go all out and say whatever the fuck I want. I say whatever the fuck I want anyway, but I can really go all out with my wrath. Hashtag fuck the government, kill them all. But breaking news, breaking news. Jim Carrey don't look like Jim Carrey no more. Let's get this out the way real quick. If y'all seen the new Jim Carrey award or like some shit, he got awarded something, and he ain't looked the same. And I remember how he looked at last year. I'm like, yes, you look old. You're getting up there. I can see the aging, but this motherfucker don't look like the Jim Carrey with the soul. Let's just say that. Like he usually very, like animated, and he usually, like you can see the sparkle in his eye. Let's just say that. You know what I'm saying? But like people that is in tune with themselves and in tune with spirituality, know who they are. They can see it because they fucking say the eyes are the windows to the soul. Now, Jim Carrey could be trolling everybody. He could be trolling. But at the same time, like these are like loyal fans that just like it just something ain't right. It just something ain't right with Jim Carrey. So we need to check that out real quick.
Always felt like the one person on earth. Jim Carrey has always felt like the one person on earth that you just couldn't replace. From the rubber face to the chaotic energy, the way he moves around like a cartoon that escaped into the real world, you can't fake that. You can't just swap that guy out and expect the internet not to notice. So when I first saw the post claiming that the man at the Caesar Awards in France wasn't Jim Carrey, I rolled my eyes. I was fully prepared to stand here, turn on this camera, and tell you that everyone believing in this replacement theory had lost their grip on reality.
Until you saw it.
I hesitated. I actually sat with the footage.
Holy shit.
I compared it to the Jim Carrey we've watched for 30 years. Now, I have to admit something I didn't expect to say tonight. There is a chance, a non-zero chance, that the man on that stage was not him. Now, before you get all crazy on me, let's look at this like rational adults. Celebrities can get cosmetic surgery all the time.
Yep.
Faces get pulled tighter, jaw lines change.
Yep. Give us the logical explanation. Liposuction, get your facelift, get your face shrunk, get your nose shaved, get your nose carved. You're gonna look like a googly eyed Michael Jackson.
Lines move. Other celebrities look drastically different now than they did 5, 10.
God damn, did y'all see the Olsen twins? They do not look like the fucking Olsen twins. I understand age is a factor, but these bitches do not look human anymore. And they both was beautiful in the early 2000s. Like the Olsen twins, I wanted to fuck the shit out of Mary Kate and Ashley in the early 2000s.
20 years ago. We can't freeze people in time just because we loved their movies in 2004. And let's be real about doubles. We know that high profile figures use decoys. We know that they use stand ins for security or PR stunts or even just to avoid the paparazzi. That's not a conspiracy. That's legit.
Yeah, because Billie Eilish did that shit in 2022. I'm like, bitch, I want my money back. If I'm going to a concert, I don't give a fuck. If I'm going to a concert and the motherfucker on stage is not the entertainer that I paid to see, I want my fucking money back. And like somebody about to get shot in the crowd. I'm not fucking playing. You know how motherfuckers would feel like if they come to my show and find out it was a body double on stage rapping? Man, y'all niggas would be pissed. Y'all start a revolution right there that night.
So the logical part of my brain says, relax. It's just an aging actor with some fresh filler and maybe a bad hair day. But then I went on Facebook. And if you look at the conspiracy theories circulating there right now, they're not talking about plastic surgery.
Right.
They're talking about murder. See, there is a massive and frankly unhinged narrative that Jim Carrey was taken out because he exposed Hollywood elites in child trafficking. And I want to push back.
Yeah, that'd be another reason. Yeah, like I saw that photograph too. It's like Jim Carrey got replaced because he was talking about the elites and telling you that hey, he's not real and all this shit. Like he ain't go over to the motherfucking shit that he did when he was on the talk show host. He just went back to the interview where he was on the red carpet talking about like he's not Jim Carrey. Like, like he went straight philosophical, metaphysical on the motherfucker.
See, these theories pull from two different things and mash them together.
Like 3 interviews that he did.
There's a 2017 interview where Carrey goes full philosopher and says, Jim Carrey doesn't exist.
Yep.
There is no me. People treat that like it's some kind of hidden confession.
You can go to the news.
There's a real speech from 2018 where he said, kidnapping children is not what great nations do, which sounds alarming until you learn that he was talking about Donald Trump separating migrant kids at the border. Someone clipped it, removed every word of context, and suddenly Jim Carrey is a trafficking whistleblower. He's not. He was making a political point about immigration enforcement. He wasn't killed for exposing a secret cabal. He was just being an artist giving an award speech. The people spreading this satanic panic version of the story are discrediting the actual mystery here. Because you don't need a secret society to make this situation weird. You just need your own 2 eyes. Let's strip away the murder plots and just look at the man in Paris.
When he was doing
I want to argue that the guy who showed up at the Caesar Awards didn't just look different, he sounded and acted different too. Jim Carrey has a specific frequency. He's elastic. He's volatile. Even when he's serious, awards didn't just look different, he sounded and acted different too. Jim Carrey has a specific frequency. He's elastic. He's volatile. Even when he's serious, there's a manic glint in his eye. But the man in Paris?
I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, and then I watched everybody like talking at 1,000 miles an hour up there, receiving their awards. And I was like, I'm dead.
He was square, stiff. Plastic surgery can change your skin. It can tighten your neck, but it doesn't change your soul. It doesn't change those little micro expressions you make when you tell a joke. And I think that's what triggered the uncanny valley feeling for so many of us. We're looking at a shell that resembles Jim Carrey, but the ghost inside the machine seems gone.
Okay, let's not be stupid. Let's not act like we are looking at 4 different people in these photos. And that's Jim Carrey is a legend. He gonna always be a legend. He gonna always be important and great enough. He's one of the funniest humans to ever have lived. And if you say you're not, you're a liar. I don't want to talk to you. Jim Carrey in the 90s, Jim Carrey in the 2000s. This is the dude from This is the dude from Anaconda Part 1.
So where does that leave us?
He called a nigga
I still
John Boy.
condemn the tinfoil hat crowd claiming he was assassinated by the Illuminati. I think that's fiction. But am I willing to say with 100% certainty that this wasn't an impersonator or a double sent to accept an award? No, I'm not. Maybe it's just age, or maybe the Jim Carrey character we knew really is dead. Not murdered, but shed like a skin by a man who didn't want to be him anymore. And the stranger we saw in Paris, it's just what's left when the magic leaves the building. But let me know what you think.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
my
him,
perception of
or is
it.
it reality glitching? This is Tyler from the future, and having watched the footage multiple times in the editing process, I now believe that there is maybe a 0.01% chance that this was not him. This just seems like a guy who was 64 years old, who had a bunch of surgery done, and had a weird
But he
night.
didn't
And
need
if
it.
you want to learn how this nightclub actually collapsed,
And
He
was
didn't need
crazy.
surgery.
He didn't need the surgery. I remember seeing him last year. Oh shit! They got a new Scary Movie 6 trailer. Get the fuck out of here! Like this ain't nothing but a goddamn reunion. They bringing everybody back. They bringing everybody back. Holy shit! They got a motherfucking scary. Oh shit! Scary Movie 6. More breaking news. So sorry about that, y'all. Sorry about that, y'all. But we about to have a scary movie, y'all. We about to have a scary movie again. It's going down. But anyway, Jim Carrey didn't need it. Like I remember seeing him last year, like the year before last, and I saw his age. I saw him aging, you know, and now this cat is like, one, why wait till now to get your face all motherfucking puffed up? But logical explanation, he got face work done. He probably motherfucking got some teeth removed and your face swell up a little bit on both sides. But when it comes to people that's paying attention to the eyes, it's like the eyes are the windows to the soul, and that motherfucker looks soulless. And it's like in the eyes of his true fans, they think that like he's just putting on an act. It's like someone is acting like Jim Carrey, but like they can't really pinpoint him. It's like, nigga, you don't have a soul. You don't have a soul. This motherfucker look like, but Jim Carrey could be trolling. That shit could be like a whole like a motherfucker like Hollywood face mask just to fuck with people. That's how funny Jim Carrey is. He will put on like some type of face aesthetic and have people freaking out for about like a week or two. And plus, it's like his eyes changed. Yeah, he probably put contacts in it just to fuck with you. He probably fucking with us. Jim Carrey had been in the spotlight for a minute. He probably fucking with us. Don't leave that off the table. Leslie Nielsen, that motherfucker used to fuck with people during interviews, but it was never like some facial expression shit. Like he always had like a whoopee cushion or something, like when he doing interviews and shit. So I'm like, nigga, we trying to be serious, and this nigga with the whoopee cushion though. I'm like, this motherfucker wild. You know what I'm saying? But to me personally, I think the Jim Carrey shit is a distraction. You know, just to get everybody talking. Jim Carrey is a clone. He's an alien, and because we already got the alien talk going on right now with the government and shit. So like you never know. You never know. Never know. But that's Jim Carrey. Everybody think he fake or like a clone or something. Scary movie is about to be out and shit. And what we got over here? Next.
Yes, every major U.S. politician on video doing something terrible, probably to a child or to multiple people. The bottom line here is the United States government has become so corrupt that the time has come, I think, to clean the crap out of the stables and start over. What has happened over the years is the federal government has become an oppressive imperialist power in debt to the banks. We should not be borrowing money. The Constitution provides for printing money, not borrowing money. We've now reached the end of our descent into hell. For 1/3 of what we all spend on military wars, not the military, but military wars, for 1/3 of that, we could raise the 5 billion poor. The whole point of grand strategy is to not only prevent wars, but to stop refugees from coming here. Those refugees are coming here because we bombed their country into nothing. If you continue to bomb the rest of the world, they are going to come to your neighborhood because it's the only one not being bombed. So we are creating these refugees, Jeff.
Oh, we creating these refugees. Yep. Oh yeah, more breaking news. That new Resident Evil 9, that Requiem, motherfucking fire. Finally finished watching the gameplay and the cutscenes of that bitch. I'm trying to, man, I'm trying to process what the fuck I saw, but like I have maybe like one gripe with it, maybe two, one or two. You know, it ain't major, but it kind of is, kind of. But you already know what Resident Evil is about. It's about motherfucking making viruses, biochemical warfare type shit. But yeah. But like when I liked it, this shit was better than part 7 and 8 put together. Shit. I'm gonna get back to my part 7 in a minute. I need me another PS fucking 4 controller. I need to order that bitch on Amazon. But Resident Evil 9 Requiem, good movie. I mean, good game, and good motherfucking cutscenes. If you want to watch a little cutscene movie, and plus you already know Resident Evil. It was one of the greatest franchises in gaming, next to Metal Gear, next to Final Fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Next to Call of Duty, but Call of Duty fell off after part 3. I'm giving part 4 the benefit of the doubt. But real shit. My favorite is part 2, Black Ops 2. And like before that, it was Modern Warfare 3. So yeah. Okay, they just blowing my Facebook up. New scary movie. They're gonna do a parody list. It said they're gonna talk about Ma, Smile, Scream, Sinners, Get Out, Megan, Weapons, Heart Eyes, Terrifier, Malignant, Substance, and Final Destination. They about to go crazy with the parody list. This the parody list. This about to be wild. This about to be wild. But to me personally, I need to look more into this because I see Marlon Wayans on it, but like, did Marlon Wayans direct it? Did he make it? What's going on? Or did the studios realize that we can't keep making bullshit ass scary movies without the Keenan brothers? I mean, without the Wayans brothers. I mean, let's bring them back to do it. But to me personally, the Wayne brothers should have put all their money together to open up their own studio and drop it their motherfucking self. But I think the studios got the rights to a name or some shit and they can't do nothing without the name. But I'll be like, nigga, fuck that. We'll just call it something else. Like, we'll just call it The Real Scary Movie. Bitch ass motherfuckers. We call it The Real Scary Movie. Fuck the studio execs that got our original name. .com, bitch. That's how you do it. But no, I'm motherfucking scared of the powers that shouldn't be. I'm not. I'll blow their fucking head off coming to my doorstep. Talking about you can't motherfucking create what you create with your fucking heart and soul and hands. Bitch, I'll murk you. Anyway, JD Vance.
Think that we are all nincompoops. I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives.
Bitch, you are out your goddamn mind, JD Vance. Oh, we had dumb presidents then, but we got a smart one now. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. This motherfucker is a goddamn celebrity. A goddamn celebrity. What the fuck? It said that the last president was George Bush Jr. at the time. He ain't nothing but a fucking draft dodger and a person that could barely read. And plus, Trump is being told what to do, just like the last presidents were being told what to fucking do. So who's the smart one and who's the dumb one if they all puppets? If anybody is dumb, it's the motherfuckers that's above the whole goddamn shit. They the dumb ones. But yet they think they smart. Just kill us through the food, through the water, through the air, through the disease, keep us divided and confused and fighting each other. Sounds like the motherfucking job is going as planned. But this motherfucker talking about, I understand y'all don't want no more war, but the last presidents that had the war, was dumb. We're the smart ones. No, nigga, y'all all fucking dumb. All your fucking presidents. Let's hear this again.
That we are all thinkaboos. I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives. So this is not going to be some long drawn out thing. Yeah, that's right. Everybody else was real dumb, and they are the only smart ones. To the point that this Iran thing isn't going to be some drawn out thing. Remember when we celebrated victory in Iraq in 2003? We all know how that turned out. Not good. Right now, Trump is saying that there will likely be more U.S. deaths as Iran strikes continue until all goals achieved, which nobody knows what that means. I mean, according to the White House, we've already, quote unquote, obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities. And to say otherwise would be fake news. And I am by no means a military strategist, but I feel like we kind of had them surrounded pretty good, no? Obviously, the mistake was that Iran put their country in the middle of all these military bases. So anyway, one really has to wonder, why are we bombing Iran?
Man, why are we bombing Iran? Want that oil? You feel me? Want that oil? But hashtag fuck the government. We got Tim Dillon talking. Shouts out to Crystal is cool for putting me up on Tim Dillon. And but we on the Disturbing Illusion channel, but he's covering Tim Dillon. But shout out to Crystal for putting me up on Tim Dillon. And much love to Vanta, my UK correspondent, sending positive love, energy, and healing frequency and vibes to you, baby. And fuck YouTube and fuck the government. You already know, and not in a good way. So let's hit this shit up. Let's go.
Let's face it, some people have a gift. They can convey complex, sometimes convoluted ideas to the rest of us in a way that nobody else can. And Tim Dillon did exactly that right here. Now, some of this might be hyperbole. On the other side of it, it may be more real than any of us is willing to admit. Let's go through it. Let's make some comments along the way. Tim Allen. One of the things that is always unfair in this comparison is people talk about how much energy it takes to train an AI model relative to how much it costs a human to do one inference query. But it also takes a lot of energy to train a human. It takes like 20 years of life and all of the food you eat during that time before you get smart. And not only that, it took like the very widespread evolution of the 100 million people that have ever lived and learned not to get eaten by predators, learned how to figure out science and whatever to produce you. And then you took whatever you. So here's what's going on. I don't want to steer anyone. Before Tim Dillon comments on this, I just want to say what Sam Altman said here kind of reminds me of this useless eaters idea. There's this class of people who look down on the rest of us and deem us to be unworthy of survival and breathing their air and eating their food and drinking their water and plundering their resources. And somehow we need to be properly disposed of so that they don't have to feed us and they don't have to be bothered with the idea that somebody else that they don't like, these undesirables, are taking up space. So we'll invent something that's going to make their life a little bit more convenient, easier, more streamlined and fun. And we're going to produce all of these AI models and create all these massive data centers that is going to suck up all of this energy, all the power, all the water, take over all the land, including the farmland. Now, we know he didn't specifically say that, but we do know that that is the mentality of the powers that shouldn't be. This equation has four factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look.
About the population.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we can lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. People all believe that they are communicating with some ancient Sumerian deity. I know this I have kind of sources on this. They really do. They believe they're communicating with super intelligence. Now, granted, this is meme level satire and what some would describe as conspiracy talk. But I do want to remind you that Elon Musk, who constantly pushes for artificial intelligence, once said, quote, "With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon." And how appropriate for a person who would later go on one Halloween event to become the devil's champion.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's a guy with the pentagram and the holy water. He's like, yeah, sure, you can control the demon. It didn't work out.
We know Hell 9000 going up to Mars.
Hell 9000 would be easy. It's way more complex than put Hell 9000 to shame.
So let's just continue on with Tim. I'm going to entertain this because I think using satire, he's making a really good point.
Mhm.
And they do believe, and he just said it out loud, by the way. He literally just said, it was like, 100 million years of evolution, all of the 20 years of life, they have all led to this point. And this point is when we are going to give birth, as I've said on the show before, because this is their main goal, to the AI demon. They want to give birth to the AI demon, the super intelligent AI, who is then going to run the planet and decide who stays, who goes, who's necessary, who's not. They're pretty open about this. This is the thing about all of what did Bill Gates call the VAXX that Donald Trump took credit for. I'm the father of the vaccine. He called it the final solution. And then the final solution, which is a year to 2 years off, is the vaccine. So we've got to go full speed ahead on all three fronts. Just to head off the conspiracy theorists, maybe we shouldn't call the vaccine the final solution. Maybe just the best solution. These people measure and meter their words. They say things, maybe in code, maybe they say it outright. Maybe this is a predictive programming thing. Maybe they just don't care what we know.
They don't care.
They know that we know, and they don't care that we know. And when they say things like, with artificial intelligence, we're summoning the demon, or we've created something we call the final solution, and it's safe and effective, don't you dare worry about it. Listen to all of our medical experts and bow down to Pfizer, to Moderna, to AstraZeneca. These are your new medical gods. And now we have the technological gods. Now we have the AI super intelligence upon us. And now they can do the dirty work without any kind of emotion, with no qualms, completely disconnected, and maybe sterilizing the earth by getting rid of all the vermin, which is us. And how do you sacrifice to the AI gods, to the AI Sumerian demons? Well, it's going to require a whole lot of power, a whole lot of land, a whole lot of water. And guess who's going to be forced to sacrifice to the new technocratic volcano gods? Well, it ain't going to be them. I mean, they're busy on their yachts. They're busy polluting the air with their expensive aircraft. It's going to be you and me, the AI people, all of the tech people. They really are, they really are pretty transparent when it comes to what they want to do and what they need to do in their minds, because they go, if China gets to it first, if China unleashes the AI demon before we unleash our AI demon, our American AI demon, Western values, America, rah-rah AI demon, and China enslaves their population with their demon, they will sell the world their demon, and then that demon will enslave the world, and then they'll make all the money, and they'll have all the geopolitical leverage, and they'll have all the military advantages,
So in this quote AI arms race, we are both racing, the US and China, to give birth to an ancient Sumerian super intelligent demon. And before he gets to Aunt Connie in Phoenix, which is hilarious and startling and sobering at the same time, that just sounds like the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. Okay, we have this technology. Everybody has access to this technology. There's a race on for control of the world with this technology. We got to be the ones to win it, because if we don't win it, if we don't feed our AI demon enough, if we don't do enough on our side, then China will unleash their demon on us when we want to unleash our demon on them first, so that we can dominate the East just like we dominate the West. So it's problem, reaction, solution. The problem is they're racing for their demon. We need to race for our demon. Reaction, oh my God, we need the military. We need Palantir to have all the power they can, because Palantir is going to be on our side, right? And then after receiving the transmission of that fear-based reaction, they step in to provide the pre-planned solution that they had waiting the entire time. Yes, we must feed our demon, dear children, and you must sacrifice so that we can win the AI God race. Now let's get back to Tim Dillon's Aunt Connie, who's a receptionist in Phoenix. Your Aunt Connie in Phoenix, who's a receptionist, is fucked. Because that's what's going on, and you got to tell her that. You go, Connie, I hope you've saved money, because there are men in Silicon Valley who are communicating with an ancient Sumerian god. What? Connie, will you sit down and listen to me? Connie, if you saved your money, I've saved a little bit of it, but the prices at the grocery store are so high. Connie, you have 18 months before your ass is out of that office. There's an ancient Sumerian god that Sam Altman and Peter Thiel are communicating with, and they're going to give birth to an AI demon. What? Which is pretty interesting, because when asked if he wants humanity to survive, you remember Peter Thiel's initial reaction? She couldn't even respond right away. You would prefer the human race to endure, right? Yeah, well, I don't know. I would. I would. It's a long hesitation. It's so long hesitation. So many. Of course, I want humanity. I'm a human. Of course, I want humanity to survive and thrive. But there was this long, disturbing, uncomfortable pause for something. It seems like the answer is clear. Yes, I want humanity to survive. It's a demonic force that's going to take form through artificial intelligence. And we have to do it before China does. Well, that sounds scary. You have no idea how scary it is, Connie, and you better save your money. You've got 18 months. 18 months left. And it's beyond saving money, because these psychopathic parasites who control the political ruling class want to eliminate money. And not just eliminate money, but they want to replace it with the digital currency, the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, where your comings and goings, what you buy, what you sell, where you go, where you hang out, what your habits are, what you post on social media, will all be connected with this Palantir surveillance, control, and punishment grid. Oh, you posted this online today? Well, you're not going to be able to have access to electricity or water today, because with our smart meter, we're going to turn off your electricity for the next 2 days because you posted that. You want to think about not posting things like that in the future? Oh, you wanted to buy some food today? Sorry, for the next 3 days, your account has been suspended. You're kind of on a little probationary period right here, because we didn't like what you had to say. That's what CBDCs are going to be. It's a complete surveillance, control, and punishment grid, all wrapped up into one. Before this AI demon is going to do your job. An ancient Sumerian god is going to do my job? Yes! Yes! How many times do I have to explain this to you, Connie? An ancient god before Jesus, before Yahweh, before Muhammad, before any of it. I mean, an ancient Connie. I don't even know where to start with you sometimes. We have finally invented a way to summon this demon and bring it back to Earth, to increase efficiency. Remember, with artificial intelligence, we have summoned the demon. The question is, do you want humanity to thrive and survive? Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below, and I will see you in the next.
All right. You already know what it is. They motherfucker really going crazy with this AI shit. All right, what was, oh yeah. Picture with the deep state, Jimmy Dore.
So I want to show you how the deep state actually keeps information away from you. The Gray Zone caught this. It was great. So there's this thing called the National Endowment for Democracy that's called the NED. And the NED was invented by the CIA so that they could go do the stuff that the CIA wanted to do in other countries, like overthrow their country, foment riots and things like that, destabilize them. And so instead of having the CIA do it, they invented this thing called the National Endowment for Democracy. And then they would do a lot of the stuff that the CIA did, but under the guise of we're spreading democracy. But, you know, everybody's actually forgotten what democracy means. It means we're freeing you from your previous government and installing new ones that serve us over here in America. That's what democracy means now. And there you go. So let's listen to a National Endowment for Democracy leader gets cut off. So the head of the National Endowment for Democracy, which is a CIA cutout, just like being a leader of the CIA, it's cut off giving congressional testimony after boasting of deploying 200 Starlinks to Iran amid violence. So let's remember what happened in Iran. The United States crashed their economy, right? So we did all these sanctions because we're the reserve currency of the world. So last year, at the end of last year, Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, bragged that we made their banks fail, we made their currency fail, and so that screwed up their entire economy, screwed everybody's pensions up. And so then people got into the streets to protest this. And then the Mossad and the United States, the NED, gave them Starlink so they could coordinate their rioting against the president, against their own government. Did you get that? So they were using Elon Musk's Starlink, the Mossad, and so they were doing that, and they were killed. They were committing violence against the government and the police, and then the police had to strike back. And so everybody said, "Oh, the government of Iran is killing their own protesters." Well, their protesters were funded by the CIA, the NED, and the Mossad, and they were using their Starlinks so they could coordinate. So, let's watch how funny this is. Okay, here we go.
I believe, Mr. Chair, that we just got a notification that the State Department is actually funding a new program I guess, with Starlink. Is that what it's called? Can you explain it?
I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of the State Department, but what I would share is that we've been investing in communication tools over years that allow for information to be sent into Iran, even when internet connectivity is blocked. We specifically began supporting the deployment, the operation of about 200 Starlinks early on.
All right, no, I'm going to interrupt you. We better not talk about it. Okay, so
What? You're saying too much. Don't tell people that we're the illegality stuff that we're doing. Don't tell people that we were actually the ones behind the protests in Iran. Don't tell people that. Did you see that? Oh, okay, I'm gonna stop you. Stop. You said too much. Whoa, whoa, woo, woo, woo. She had to. I gotta stop this idiot. This guy. He's telling the truth. That's not what this is about. What are you doing telling the truth? This frickin' guy. Get him out of here. So the Gray Zone did an article on this. NED leader cut off in Congress after boasting of deploying 200 Starlinks to amid violence. Wow. So here was he bragged to the House committee of his group's aggressive efforts to spark unrest in Iran. That's what he's bragging about. That they sparked unrest in Iran. And never trust anybody that's sparking anything except a joint. And even then. So here's from the Gray Zone. Damon Wilson, the head of the National Endowment for Democracy, the CIA, cutout, was interrupted by a member of Congress during a House Oversight Committee on February 24th after revealing that his agency, quote, began supporting the deployment and operation of about 200 Starlinks early on amid the violence which swept through Iran last month. Before he could finish the sentence, he was cut off by the ranking member of the House Subcommittee on State Foreign Operations and Related Programs. So that's Representative Lois Franke, who told Wilson, you know what? I'm going to interrupt you. We better not talk about that. Nice. Wow. Wow. Wilson's comments had been prompted by a question from Frank, who requested details of what appears to be a new and apparently secretive initiative by the State Department to provide Starlink terminals to Iranians. Wilson appeared to take credit for both the recent unrest and Iran and subsequent media framing of the chaos. What we're seeing today, the endowment has been making investments over years that have ensured that there have been secure communications, including Starlinks, that allowed information to go both in and out of the country. Wow, you just said, they just say it. According to the New York Times, the Elon Musk produced internet systems had been smuggled into the country by a ragtag network of activists, developers, and engineers, pierced Iran's digital barricades. That's what the New York Times says.
But now we know it's run by the CIA and the Mossad. But the New York Times will tell you it's these ragtags. It's just these people. It's just nobody. The National Endowment for Democracy was founded in 1982 under the auspices of then CIA Director William Casey to topple socialists and independent governments through the direct sponsorship of non-government organizations, media organizations, and political parties. So what the NED does is they come give millions, sometimes billions of dollars, and they go, hey, go buy some rifles and bombs and go overthrow your government. Hey, we're going to buy the media and we're going to fill up with propaganda so you overthrow your government. Hey, we're going to sponsor a political party that's going to overthrow your government. That's what they do. That's their idea of democracy. A lot of what we do today was done covertly 25 years ago by the CIA. Who said that? The NED's co-founder said that in 1991. Much of the work that the NED does was done by the CIA 25 years ago. Despite its mission of promoting transparency and fundamental freedoms abroad, the NED is now a dark money group which conceals the names of its local partners under a duty of care policy announced in 2025. During his congressional testimony this February, Wilson insisted the policy was necessary for the security of grantees on the ground. Really? Wow. Okay. The NED's work to smuggle Starlink terminals into Iran is therefore a covert operation aimed at promoting unrest. And according to Wilson, it is now a key part of the endowment's most aggressive initiative. Iran has become a huge priority for the endowment. Iran has been, since I arrived at the endowment, our fastest growing program. It's now one of our largest programs globally that involves both direct partners, Iranian groups, as well as our core institutes. No kidding. Wilson said this organization was instrumental in bringing about the 2002 Woman Life Freedom Movement, which saw Iranians initially mobilized against the Islamic Republic's mandatory hijab law before the protests deteriorated into violent riots. If you think about the impact of our work in Iran, the reason the Women Life Freedom Movement began with a simple headscarf, that story of Mahsa Amini could have been lost as a regional story in Iran. But the NED partners helped cover that story, get it out to the world, and get it back into Iran, Wilson said, referring to the Iranian Kurdish woman who died in police custody from an apparent medical condition after being detained for violating the mandatory hijab law. So that was all fomented by our CIA cut out the NED. Violent regime change riots erupted again this January 8th and 9th across Iran, resulting in the burning of police stations, hundreds of mosques and worship sites, government buildings, marketplaces, and lethal mob assaults on unarmed guards as well. So the violence was created by the CIA cutouts and the Mossad. They're the ones doing this. It wasn't just organic people rising up doing violence against their government. It was the CIA and the Mossad creating violence. And then when the state had to push back against the people creating violence, then Trump says, oh, they're killing their own people. So just so you know how this works. The violence only stopped when Iranian security services imposed an internet blackout and neutralized thousands of Starlink terminals. The Iranian government has provided the names and identification numbers of over 3,000 citizens who were killed during the 2 days of rioting. But as the Gray Zone reported, the NED-funded non-government organization, human rights activists in Iran, initially claimed the death toll was over twice as high. Now, as mainstream outlets like The Guardian cite dubious monarchist sources to exaggerate the death toll even further, the NED's Wilson has revealed that his organization is working with human rights networks to provide international media and other credible sources of what's happened. According to Wilson, documenting 17,000 deaths, upwards potentially of 30,000 remains under review by our partners right now. No, there was a bunch of people that were funded by the Mossad, funded by the CIA, and given Starlinks that were and given guns that were doing violence against unarmed guards inside Iran. And so Iran's armed guards had to respond, and they had to kill 3,000 of them. Elsewhere in his testimony, Wilson appeared to take credit for the election of the right-wing government in Bolivia, and that his NED did so to ensure U.S. control over the country's mineral wealth. So there we are, overthrowing governments, instituting puppets, so we can steal their minerals. That's exactly what it's telling us. In Bolivia, he declared our partners prevented lithium from falling under Moscow's control. Wilson also revealed that the NED is funding and training media in Nicaragua with an eye on undermining the country's socialist-orientated Sandinista government. We have an incredible suite of Nicaragua's journalists with coverage networks inside the country. So you see how this works, right? Jose Vega says, here's me confronting Damon Wilson, that guy, the head of the National Endowment for Democracy, with my friend Kinnan over being a pathetic cover for CIA operations abroad. You know our friend Jose.
Excuse me, what about the corruption that the United States brings to all these other nations in the world?
Afghanistan, we've taken over $9 billion in their foreign assets because we supposedly don't like the government, so we can condemn their What about Iraq? We went in there under false pretenses, under weapons of mass destruction, and we left destruction in that nation. What about Syria right now? There is no democracy. The world has rejected your democracy. Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya. Everything you tried to do has failed, and you will be forgotten. You are a plague, and guess what? The world has superseded your bullshit. No one will take it anymore. There is no democracy you're promoting. You've only brought death, and you know that, but guess what? It hasn't worked. You're going to die off like the plague you are. You are just like Ozymandias. Nothing will remain.
Nice work. Nicely done. Nice work. Well done. Boy, the truth certainly is rude in America. Whenever someone starts telling the truth, they got to get them out of there. They really got to get them out of there. That was, wow. So I wonder if that security team agrees with them. I bet they do. Well done. So there you go. If you like a little peek behind the curtain about the United States are the world's terrorists, there it is. And how they all goof about it. They all gather laughing about how you got to stop you there. You're telling the truth about how we're actually the world's terrorists and we're the one destabilizing the Middle East again and again and again and again. Even though Donald Trump ran, the reason he got elected was because he stood up to those people who destabilized the Middle East and said, you lied. And you destabilized it was the biggest mistake we ever made. So he got elected. And of course, he keeps doing the same thing. Anyway, no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain. And if you'd like to hear my jokes about
Shout out to Kingston James
You're
Lee.
not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. That I can tell you.
turned out to be very short-lived. Last night, the U.S. and Israel launched a quote-unquote preemptive attack against Iran. Like, what even is that? What are they trying to preempt exactly? And I mean, I get wanting to take out the Ayatollah, but a strike on a girls' school killing 85 students? Come on. If you're walking down the street and somebody just punches you in the face, it's probably not going to matter to you if they say, it was just a preemptive punch. So the big question is how and why did the Trump and Vance pro-peace ticket decide to launch an attack that could quite honestly lead to World War III? Maybe another way of asking that question is, could we be quite possibly being controlled by a foreign government? Because I'm about to show you a ton of different receipts, and I want you to come to your own conclusion. Because remember, Donald Trump was the one back in 2013 who tweeted, quote, "Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Barack Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly. Not skilled." That did not age well, to put it mildly.
They see that in Iran, and you know what? It's going to happen to them unless they come to the table. And if you had the right leader, you would have them at the table right now without having to waste lives and billions of dollars.
All right, so assume that we did have them at the table. What in the world do you think it is that we could offer them to persuade them, to convince them, to scare them, or whatever it is for Iran to step down on a nuclear weapon development?
Survival. It's survival. That's what we offer them. It's pure and simple. A horrible thing to say. It's survival.
Well, the truth is they've been coming to the table for years and years, and it's gotten them. All their leaders are getting killed. And for years and years, they're telling us because they have a nuclear weapon, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Well, I will just say at this point, and it's going to be still pretty controversial, but I think it's without a doubt that if Iran had nuclear weapons, none of this would be happening. And if you notice, it's always the same dude from one particular country that keeps telling us, we got to go to war with Iran.
It's not stopped. Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to. Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs. They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a day. Iran will be capable of producing without importing anything. Nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
So fool me once, shame on me. Fool me for 30 years. I don't know what that's called. Maybe we could say that we're Israel's puppet. Say that. Well, Trump did back in the 2016 Republican primary campaign. He called out Marco Rubio with this tweet saying, quote, Sheldon Adelson, and he is the big pro-Israel Zionist donor, billionaire guy. He's looking to give big dollars to Marco Rubio because he feels he can mold him into his perfect little puppet. I agree. Boy, how the mighty have fallen. Because look at who the puppet is now. That is, of course, Donald Trump with Sheldon Adelson's widow, Miriam Adelson, who gave Trump upwards of $250 million, now much more than that, to his campaign. But the crazy thing in all of this is we supposedly took care of this last year in terms of Iran's nuclear capabilities. This is still up on the White House website. Iran's nuclear facilities have been obliterated, and suggestions otherwise are fake news. So what the heck is really going on here?
This has never been about nuclear weapons. This has been about Israel's regional hegemony in the Middle East. Israel wants to topple the Iranian regime, period. It has said so. This is not a mystery. This is not my claim. This is Israeli policy repeated year in, year out. The whole idea that Trump is negotiating to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. That was negotiated. Trump ripped it up. The Iranians have come back every year to say, we don't want a nuclear weapon, we want negotiations. The United States does not accept yes for an answer because it works for the government of Israel. This is the point. Why does it work for the government of Israel? It's a little hard to understand. Maybe because it's of Mike Hucklebee's parishioners, because of people who read the Bible and say, okay, that's our foreign policy. That's possible. It may be because of what's in the Epstein files that haven't been released. It may be blackmail. It may be corruption. It may be many other things. But it is not about America's interests. We have no interest whatsoever in going to a war with Iran right now. If there is such a war, it's a war because Israel has told the United States what to do. And that raises a question. Why has the United States done what Israel has told the United States to do for 30 years? And I don't just mean about Iran. I mean across the Middle East.
Wow, Mr. Jeffrey Sachs, he really was not mincing his words there, was he? And I think through what he was talking about there, I think we can hopefully start to see why we talk about the things we talk about on this channel, right? Why do we research certain things? Why do we talk about other things? It's because they're all interconnected in a way. Right? The Epstein files, the inner workings of the Israeli lobby, the Zionist influence over the media. You could say their takeover of the media, because I think it all culminates in moments like this. And that background and context allows us to fully understand the totality of what is going on here versus just listening to the media propaganda.
You appealed to Genesis. Genesis 15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land. And you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East. That would be the Levant, so that would be Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. It would also be parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It would be, I mean, I'm not sure it would go that far. I mean, it would be a big piece of land, but here's the point. It would be a lot of places that are now countries. That this particular area that we're talking about now, Israel, is it's a land that God gave through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism, I want to go back because that's where we started on it. I'll let you off on this because you have led it 3 times. Okay, that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed. It would be fine if they took it all.
It would be fine if they took it all. And quite honestly, I think, this is a bit cynical of me to say, but if Israel were trying to do that on their own, there's nothing much I can do about that. I can't control their military. The issue here is demanding we sacrifice American lives on behalf of their geopolitical agenda. Okay, take a listen to what Trump said last night.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. It often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future. And it is a noble mission.
Noble mission, he says.
Wow.
Just giving off, I think many people have pointed out, it's giving off a little bit of a Lord Farquaad vibes. Now,
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, says all the people who would never have to go to the front lines themselves or even send their children to the front lines. But back to the big question, how does Netanyahu and Israel have this kind of power over nearly every single American politician, Trump included, right? As Sachs was saying, it's maybe the Israeli lobby money, and that's certainly a part of it. The Epstein blackmail, I think, certainly has a part to do with it as well. And we now certainly have some evidence of what he was doing behind the scenes, not all of it, but we know some of it. It's also, I think, because they're literally holding us hostage, allegedly speaking. Take a listen to CIA whistleblower John Kiriakou here. The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And they had never threatened that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons. So according to your source, the Israelis told the president of the United States that if he did not use the United States military power to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran, Israel, acting on its own, would use nuclear weapons. Yeah. Do you see why there's a problem with that statement, John? Yeah. Because they've never admitted that they've had them. So you're telling me that they just admitted to the president of the United States that they have nuclear weapons and still do not have them in the IAEA treaty? I mean, if Israeli nuclear whistleblowers are to be believed, yeah, they've had them, they started working on them in the 50s. And that is basically the elephant in the room, isn't it? Which is that there is one country in the Middle East with nuclear weapons, a secret program that officially doesn't exist. By the way, that would be a great time for people to familiarize themselves with the Samson option, if you haven't already done so yet. Just the highlights. The Samson option refers to Israel's alleged strategy of employing massive retaliatory nuclear strikes as a final resort if the nation faces existential destruction. Named after the biblical figure Samson, it aims to deter enemies by ensuring that any aggression leading to the state's collapse would result in mutual destruction, serving as a last-ditch defense mechanism. We say allegedly, okay? But in all seriousness, I get why Israel is so concerned about Iran. But you have to wonder why we in America are so concerned about Iran, a country that has never attacked us until now. I mean, you can't tell me that with this many military bases around their country, they are more of a threat to us than we are to them. I mean, this is comical, this map. And there was one voice, one very prominent voice, loudly warning us that this doesn't make any sense at all for us to get entangled in another Middle East war on behalf of Israel. To be honest, this is more Israel pushing for Iran. Is that America's problem? That's a good. I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what? They were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about Afghanistan. They were wrong about the Taliban. They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about the Arab Spring. They were wrong about Yemen. They were wrong about the Arabian Peninsula. They were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian. But hey, 10 times a tough. This time we're actually right. Yeah, you're gonna have to earn our trust on this one. I think Charlie is right. It's a very weird obsession these people have, and you got to wonder where that comes from. In that they just keep saying, "Oh, we got to get rid of this guy or that guy," and now we can get peace, we can get prosperity, because we've literally tried this strategy so many times, including in Iran, which led to this fundamentalist regime taking power. And now he's dead. This is Candace Owens, her words, not mine, but something to consider. She says, quote, "We'll never forget the day they murdered Charlie Kirk for this war, and he knew they were going to do it. He spent his final days mentally anguished, texting the very people who would ultimately betray him. In honor of Charlie, I stand against Israel." Like him or not, Charlie was always very principled in his beliefs, and I think, it may have cost him his life. And what I want to end today on is just to say, you can agree or disagree with this war. You could even support Israel if you want. I've always welcomed all ideas here, so long as what we're after is the truth. I've actually gotten a ton of backlash saying, "Oh, you don't care about the people of Iran. Why don't you talk to Iranians about what they want?" And what I would say to that is, I don't really care what they want, to put it sort of bluntly. For me, I don't think I don't think American foreign policy should be dictated by the political situation in other countries. If you don't like your regime, topple it. Be my guest. But this isn't a game that we all strategize about, because the reality is Americans will die, Israelis will die, a lot of Iranians will die. And I think we should be honest about the realities, that these are manipulative tactics that they're using that are only meant to obfuscate the fact that America's foreign policy over the last 30, 40 years have been dictated by the interests of a foreign country. And based on all the evidence today, I believe that to be the truth. Hey, that's just what I think. Let me know what your thoughts are.
And this is BB talking.
For 47 years, the Ayatollah regime has called for death to Israel, death to America. On the second day of the War of Rebirth, I promised you, we will change the face of the Middle East. This morning, in a powerful surprise attack, the compound of the tyrant Khamenei was destroyed in the heart of Tehran. There are many indications that this tyrant is gone as well. We eliminated senior officials in the Ayatollah regime, commanders in the Revolutionary Guards, and top figures in the nuclear program. This morning, Israel and the United States launched a joint operation to remove the existential threat to Israel posed by the Ayatollah regime in Iran. As I told you this morning, this crucial operation will continue as long as necessary, and patience is also required. thank my friend, President Donald Trump, for his historic leadership. He is a leader who keeps his word. I spoke with him again this morning, and I welcome the close cooperation between us. This cooperation has brought the alliance between Israel and the United States to an all-time high. An alliance for peace and an alliance in war. And this war will lead to peace. A true peace. For 47 years, the Ayatollah regime has called for death to Israel, death to America. It has shed our blood, murdered many Americans, and massacred its own people. Today, everyone already understands. Such a murderous terror regime must not be allowed to arm itself with nuclear weapons that would enable it to threaten our existence and threaten the peace of all humanity. We have gone out to battle in order to fundamentally change this situation, to put an end to the threat. On the second day of the War of Rebirth, I promised you, we will change the face of the Middle East. We did this together as a people, and we are doing it now with even greater determination in Operation Iron Swords. This morning, in a powerful surprise attack, the compound of the tyrant Khamenei was destroyed in the heart of Tehran. For 3.5 decades, this cruel tyrant has sent terror across the world, oppressed his own people, and relentlessly worked on the plan to destroy Israel. That plan is no more, and there are many indications that this tyrant is gone as well. This morning, we eliminated senior officials in the Ayatollah regime, commanders in the Revolutionary Guards, and top figures in the nuclear program. And we will continue. In the coming days, we will strike thousands of targets belonging to the terror regime.
Thousands.
We will create the conditions for the brave Iranian people to free themselves from the shackles of tyranny.
Wow.
And so once again, I turn to you, citizens of Iran. Do not miss this opportunity. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Do not sit idly by, because soon your moment will come, the moment when you will be called to take to the streets en masse to go out and finish the job, to bring down the regime of horrors that is making your lives miserable. Your suffering and sacrifice will not be in vain. Help you have been waiting for, that help has arrived. The heart is ready.
That was BB. You already know what it is. You about to get up out of here. That's a Fuck the Government podcast. BB won war. Dragging motherfucking United States into this shit. We already know what that. Yo, look. We already know what's going on. All right. But that was BB. I think we got some other shit in the news. David Ellison, I think they about to buy Warner Brothers or some shit. I told people, always pay attention to what goes on at Davos and pay attention to what goes on later. People are going to be merging. People are going to be making deals. People are going to be buying up shit. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to the WEF. Because now motherfuckers buying motherfucking shit. So I think David Ellison, Larry Ellison's son, I think he about to get ready to, I think Paramount or some shit like that. Paramount about to buy Warner Brothers or some shit like that going on. But I thought that was the last one, so I guess it's right here. The fuck is it? Yeah, the New Deal. You're not a Zionist. That's the media.
Will now own all of this. So now they're going to own Skydance, TikTok, Fandango, Rotten Tomatoes, DC Studios, Oracle, HBO, CNN, CBS, Nickelodeon, HGTV, TLC, Paramount Plus, TNT, Comedy Central. That's Jon Stewart. He's going to be owned by the Zionists now. Hey, so guess what? You remember the guy who bought Paramount for Israel? The Zionists, the Ellison family bought. So they own CBS News. They own 60 Minutes. Now they're gonna buy Warner Brothers. So the Zionists now straight up own over 1/6 of the U.S. media. Plus they own TikTok, one of the most popular. Boy, here's what Glenn Greenwald says. He says Larry Ellison, the largest ever donor to Friends of the IDF. So he's the largest ever donor to the Israeli army. Yep. Is not content with having bought Paramount and CBS News, not leading the consortium, and now nor leading the consortium to own TikTok. They own it. He's fighting Warner Brothers' decision to sell itself to Netflix instead of to him. He wants CNN and other media. So there it is. Paramount plans proxy fight to push hostile Warner bid. Well, it worked. They got it. Netflix is back down. They got it.
Paramount emerged as the victor in the month-long battle for Warner Brothers Discovery after Netflix backed out of the bidding war Thursday, leaving Paramount poised to acquire Warner's vast media empire, including CNN. So now they're going to have 60 Minutes, CBS News, and CNN. Netflix said it has declined to raise its offer for Warner Brothers after Warner Brothers Discovery Board determined that Paramount has submitted a superior offer. I'm Bobby Cole, your Democratic candidate for governor of Texas. I don't take corporate PAC money. The deal is no longer financially attractive, so we are declining to match the Paramount Skydance bid. The streamer said, suddenly ending the corporate tug of war. It's all over. With the announcement, Paramount suddenly moved closer to taking over CNN, HBO, and the rest of the assets owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, or WBD for short. The regulatory review process will still take several months at a minimum, but barring any further surprises, Paramount CEO David Ellison will assemble a sprawling entertainment and news empire with dozens of TV channels, multiple movie studios, and 2 leading newsrooms. Wow, I personally think it's a great idea to give the Discovery Channel a completely Zionist bent. Here we see the red ants overrunning the carpenter ants, because this dead tree log was promised to them 3,000 years ago. Okay. The change in fortunes come at the same day that the Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos held meetings at the White House. Sarandos was seen exiting the White House complex with a glum look on his face. Democrat Senator Elizabeth Warren, a staunch critic of both the Netflix and Paramount bids, immediately questioned whether the Sarandos discussions with Trump administration officials had something to do with Thursday's sudden change. But you know, Elizabeth Warren, her native name is shows up for no apparent reason. That's what it means. What did Trump officials tell Netflix CEO today at the White House? Warren asked in a post on Twitter, saying, it looks like crony capitalism with the president corrupting the merger process in favor of the billionaire Ellison family. President Trump had previously indicated that he favored Paramount over Netflix, though he also sent mixed messages about the mega merger. Really? He really did? Last weekend, Trump publicly told Netflix to remove board member Susan Rice. That's a former Obama advisor, or pay the consequences, renewing the prospect that he would put his thumb on the corporate scale. So Paramount will now own all of this. So you want to see what they're going to own? Want to see? So now they're going to own Skydance, TikTok, Fandango, Rotten Tomatoes, DC Studios, Oracle, HBO, CNN, CBS, Nickelodeon, HGTV, TLC, Paramount Plus, TNT, Comedy Central. That's Jon Stewart. He's going to be owned by the Zionists now. TBS, Showtime, what is that? The Cartoon Network, the Cartoon Network, Animal Planet, CBS Sports, Adult Swim, HBO Max, Boomerang, Cinemax, the Cooking Channel, Pluto TV, VH1, MTV, BET, Travel Channel, the CW, Science Channel, Food Network, and Discovery. And there's all the major franchises they own. They own the Game of Thrones, they own Matrix, Dexter, they own Mad Max, they own Dexter, Joker, Superman, Batman, Mission Impossible, Jackass. So they own a lot of stuff. And just because they are controlling this huge list of things I don't give a shit about, doesn't mean they aren't coming for something that I will.
Right.
So Israel to take Warner Brothers. The Ellison family will now own CBS, CNN, HBO, Paramount, TikTok, and Oracle. Don't dare say they control the media, though. Isn't it great? Isn't it great to say? Right. So people kept saying that the Zionists own the media, which is anti-Semitic, and so to prove they're wrong, we're going to buy the media. That's kind of funny. So I didn't make this post. And I wouldn't agree with this. It says 6 Jewish corporations own 96% of the media. I would say 6 Zionist corporations, because you don't get to be head of a Hollywood media company if you're anti-Zionist. So that's what I would say. And they list all of them, right? So Sony Pictures, Zionist, Paramount, Global, Zionist, Fox Entertainment. See, all the CEOs are Zionists. Brian Roberts, CEO, Comcast, David Slavis, president. So Walt Disney Company, look, all of them. All of these companies. That's a lot. And this has been going on for a long time. It's just in the news now. They finally have permission to say so. What this means is the elites, I don't know. We'll see. But remember this? You remember when the CNN host, Ellie Reeve, tried to say that Candace Owens was repeating white nationalist talking points, saying that Zionists controlled the government? Remember this? Watch this.
You cannot criticize Netanyahu without being anti-Israel, and you can criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. But some of the themes, talking points, concepts you've used in your criticism of Israel, I'm very familiar with from covering white nationalists for 10 years. It's very unsettling for me to hear things like you saying our government is occupied by Zionists, Trump is occupied by Zionists, we're an occupied nation. Because like there's literally a term that's like an 80s, 90s term for white nationalism, Zionist occupied government. It's the idea that Jews control the world. And I'm wondering, like, are you intentionally referencing those kind of themes? Like, just to slow us down, are you accusing me of white nationalist rhetoric? Because I do have to have a little bit of a giggle. To me, I'm also like, they've been 300 years.
About to end
It's silly. But this is one of the things where I feel like it's such a lesson for students. This is like, like, Washington. You're sitting across the board, like, I've learned about white nationalism, and you're using white nationalism. Like, I know them, I've been to their rallies, I've read all their texts. I know, I'm so glad you're educated. But it's not like, put it in a book and anybody will say it. It's like, it's just, at a certain point, you have to use your eyes and go, is Candace Owens promoting white nationalist rhetoric? Okay. Immediately no. So what else could it be? Could it be that actually Zionism is what it actually represents? That Zionism is a political philosophy. Zionist occupied government. If you look into the history, yes, I believe we are a Zionist occupied government, and we're not the only one. Okay, yes, and I take it to the bank. If you need to walk out of here and say Candace Owens is a white nationalist for you to be able to digest it, then that's fine. You know, you have to do that on your own time. But what I will say is, maybe it's not that's really stand by the brief statement that I made, and I kind of want to double down on it.
So this,
You can criticize.
so this woman, this Ellie Reed, she's basically the mumbling girl who talked Jerry Seinfeld unwittingly into a poopy pirate shirt. You remember that episode from 30 years ago? Only 30 years old. This joke, it works. Matt Stoller says Democrats can stop the Paramount merger. State attorneys general have jurisdiction. California Attorney General Rob Bonta said he's watching it closely. And we'll see. I don't think they're going to stop the merger, Matt. Fingers crossed, I'm with you. I don't see that happening because, as Candace Owens just pointed out, we have a Zionist occupied government. And if you think that somebody in the Democratic Party is going to go against the Zionists, they got AOC to vote for the Iron Dome, for heck's sake. Come on. So I just got a statement from California Attorney General Bonta's office. Paramount Warner Brothers is not a done deal. These two Hollywood titans have not cleared regulatory scrutiny. The California Department of Justice has an open investigation, and we intend to be vigorous in our review. This is going through. Hey, look, honey, we've still got a shot at controlling all the media in the Western world. Fingers crossed. So here's what our friend, why am I blanking on James Lee's name? Here he is. Here's what he says. All of this is now owned by one single family, the Ellisons. This is billionaire Larry Ellison, and this is his son David, and they've been on an absolute spending frenzy. First, they took over CBS Paramount in 2024 on behalf of Israel. And last year, Larry Ellison bought TikTok, also on behalf of Israel. And now the Ellisons are taking over Warner Brothers for $111 billion. Keep in mind that Larry Ellison is the largest single private donor to the IDF. And he just so happens to be very close friends with Netanyahu. They wouldn't be trying to run some kind of psychological operation on us, would they?
Why can't Israel be doing some sort of, counterintelligence, information warfare like this, where they are actually doing the same type of, like psychological operations in America?
All of this comes as, for the first time in American history, American support for Palestinians is greater than that of Israel. Probably all just a coincidence.
Probably all just a coincidence. This is not a Zionist takeover of our media or our country's government. No, not at all. It is the weirdest thing that a country of 350 million people gets led around by the nose by a country of what, 9 million people? So 350 million people in America, about what is it, 9 million Jews in Israel? That's kind of wild. Great work, James Lee. So there you have it. You cannot say that the Zionists own our media, because if you notice that, that's anti-Semitic. You can't notice that, and you can't notice that they're buying up all the media at the behest of Israel and Zionism. You're not supposed. If you notice that, you're anti-Semitic. You can't notice any of this. That your entire media is owned by Zionists. You can't notice it. You're not supposed to notice this. Wow. And I mean, so the fact that it already was run by the Zionists, so now it's super run by the Zionists. Now it's been purchased with the sole intention of pushing Zionist propaganda. Before, they just did it because they were run by Zionists, but now they're super owned by Zionists. Wow, this is really wild. Okay, if you'd like to hear my jokes about this.
Yep. That was a wrap for that. You already know what it is. Time to get back to this music. Low Key already just said he about to say that verse, so you already know what it is. I gotta go back to my verse and make sure my shit's straight. I think I got maybe like a couple bars left. You already know what it is. About to finish this song up. And I have a new song tonight, y'all. And if I got time, I might do a Detroit After Dark. I'm not sure, but chances are I might no, fuck, I'm gonna just work on this music. I think I dropped 2 church services, and I think I dropped something else, and then I just dropped this. So yeah. Yeah, that's 4 lives. That's 4 lives today. Let me get back to this music now, and let's drop this shit. You already know what it is. Shouts out to Low Key. Shout out to everybody in the chat. This the Fuck the Government podcast. You already know why we say fuck the government. They killing us through the food, through the water, through the air, through the Z's. I'd rather down my feet than live on my motherfucking knees. Pause. And bars. And pause. But anyway, shout out to everybody. Catch y'all on the next one. You know, it's been a minute since I did a For the Government podcast. We're on episode 55, probably 56. I gotta look up all my numbers again. But we 5 way or 4 way from the episode 60. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of HHNs trying to build up the Fuck the Government podcast. I need to get back to my Majors versus Reality also. You know what I'm saying? I got some shit, man. I've been on this bit for like 6 fucking years. We wilding with this shit until I leave. But let's get back to this music. Shouts out to everybody. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. Be on the lookout for some music. Be on the lookout for some music. Shouts out to Low Key. Let's get this shit. Monads. Fuck the demiurge. Stump the archons. Fuck the government. Peace. We out.